Welcome to my channel. In today's episode, we'll dive deep into the mysterious world of From Season 3, Episode 1. Without further delay, let's jump into Episode 1. The episode begins right where Season 2 ended. Here we see Tabitha, who finds herself in a hospital. She has no idea how she got there. A doctor comes to her and explains that she has been unconscious for 3 days and asks, "Where were you, and what happened to you?" However, Tabitha doesn't reveal anything because she knows that if she mentions the monsters, people will think she's crazy. She starts asking, "Where am I?" The doctor replies, "You're in a town called Camden." She also informs Tabitha that the police will be arriving soon to ask her a few formal questions. After saying this, the doctor leaves. Tabitha realizes the police might arrest her. So she quickly grabs some clothes from the closet and a box that Victor had given her. Without anyone noticing, she sneaks out of the hospital. The police are already outside, but they don't see her, and Tabitha escapes. Just then, she notices the same boy who had pushed her. She starts following him, but as she tracks him to a restaurant, she realizes it's a different boy. She moves on from there. Later, we see Boyd in the monster-infested town. He's tending to some bullet wounds on his shoulder. Meanwhile, Father Cattry has passed away, but Boyd feels as though the father is still with him, and they start having a conversation. Father Cattry tells Boyd that most of the town's people are no longer capable of resting. They're terrified, and yet Boyd keeps insisting that everything is fine. Father Cattry points out that people are starting to starve, there's a food shortage, and winter is coming. Boyd responds, saying they have blankets, and he doesn't want to cause panic. So things will slowly improve. He also mentions that when he was in the chamber, he faced even tougher situations, and together, they'll overcome this as well. Just then, Boyd hears a scream. He rushes outside to find Ethan trying to run away, with Chen trying to stop him. Jim, Ethan's father, arrives too. Ethan tells his father that he wants to go into the forest to find his mom, saying, "We can't just sit here doing nothing. We have to do something." Jim reassures his son, saying, "Don't worry. I'll find your mom. You just go inside." At that moment, Jim's daughter Julie arrives and tells him, "Mom is missing, but it's not your fault," and she storms off, clearly upset with her father. Boyd arrives and starts talking to Jim. Jim then goes inside to pack his belongings, determined to head into the forest to find his wife Tabitha, but Boyd says, "You won't be able to do this, whoever went into the forest never returned." Jim responds, "But you went into the forest, and you came back. So I have to do something. My kids need their mom. And now, my kids are starting to resent me, so I must do something." The two start arguing, but just then, Kenny arrives and asks, "What's going on here?" Jim says, "I'm going to search for my wife." Boyd says, "There is an easier way, and we can use it." Meanwhile, we see Fatima in the bathroom. She is feeling sick due to her pregnancy. Several people are outside, banging on the door, telling her to come out. After a while, Fatima comes out. And one of the girls outside scolds her, but at that moment, Ellis arrives and supports Fatima, telling the others they should understand her condition. He then takes Fatima away with him. Fatima starts saying, "I'm feeling a bit of pain in my stomach," and leaves. Shortly after, Telly arrives and tells her that the first few months of pregnancy are difficult for everyone, but it will get better over time. Meanwhile, Boyd brings Jim inside and begins explaining, "When Sarah and I were in the forest, we saw small houses there. We even set up a tent near a big tree. If you go in the right direction, you will find our tent. You can stay in it overnight, so you won't be in much danger." At this point, Kenny speaks up, saying, "I'll go with Jim and help him find his wife." But Boyd takes Kenny aside and says, "No, it's too dangerous, you shouldn't go with him." Kenny responds, "I have to help him. He has a small family, and he needs our support." Suddenly, they hear the sound of glass breaking from a nearby house, so Boyd and Kenny rush over. Inside, they find a man named Jade lying on the floor, behaving erratically. Boyd asks, "What's wrong with you?" but Jade doesn't respond. Boyd and Kenny lift him up and start taking him to the police station. Meanwhile, we see Tabitha wandering in the town of Camden, unsure of what to do. She approaches two girls who have a phone and borrows it for a few minutes to call her mom. Hearing her mom's voice makes her very happy. Her mom asks, "Where are you? I miss you so much, and the police are looking for you." Tabitha replies, "I'm safe, and everything will be fine. I'll be home soon, so don't worry." Her mother wants to talk, but Tabitha just wants to hear her mother's voice, so she hangs up and returns the phone to the girls. Then, she spots a church and, seeking comfort, goes inside. She approaches the priest and tries to ask for forgiveness for her sins. She says, "I don't know how I ended up here, but I needed to talk to someone. To be honest, I've lost faith in God because He didn't help me. I lost my little child Thomas before, and now my family is waiting for me. I don't believe in God anymore." Then, she starts to leave. Priest stops her. She says, "No one will believe how I came here. I was in a city where monsters come at night. I reached a lighthouse through a tree, but there I was pushed by a small child. And my eyes are open in this city, but I don't know how to go back." Priest sees the box in Tabitha's hand and asks her, "Who are you taking food for?" And she started saying that, when she was in that city, a man named Victor had given her this box and told her that there was food inside. Since then, the box has been with her. The priest said that she should open the box and check it. So, she opens the box and begins to check the food inside. Suddenly, she finds some lines written inside the box by Victor. In those lines, Victor had written that if she ever gets lost in this city, she should go to a particular address. At that moment, she realizes where she actually needs to go. Meanwhile, in the city of monsters, we see Kenny arriving with a girl named Christy to meet his mom, Chan. He has packed his backpack. Christy starts telling him that he should reconsider his decision to go into the forest. His mother, Chan, is also there, and she tells her son to come back as soon as possible. "Because I have no one but you." Kenny reassures his mom that nothing will happen to him, and he will return soon. On the other hand, Jim is also preparing to go into the forest. He meets his son, Ethan. Ethan only asks his father to somehow bring their mom back. Julie is also there, and says the same thing to her father. After meeting both of them, Jim steps outside, where he runs into Boyd. Boyd reminds them to follow exactly what he had told them, and to make sure they head in the right direction. Boyd tells the two, "Go there, my tent will be set up, and you need to stay there. Before night falls, make sure to find the tent." The two agree and leave. Meanwhile, Ellis, Boyd's son, comes to him and says, "Donna is calling you, come with me quickly." So, Boyd immediately goes to Donna. Donna starts explaining that all their crops have been ruined, and they have nothing left. They were already short on food, so Boyd begins to worry about how they will manage to find food now. The rest of the townspeople go straight to Chen's place and attack her house, accusing her of hiding food in the basement. Chen tries her best to explain that the food is for everyone, and she can't give it all to just a few people. But the crowd doesn't listen and attacks her home. A man named Randall is seen taking a goat, intending to kill it for food. Ethan tries to stop Randall. And Victor is also there, attempting to reason with Randall, saying, "You can't kill this goat." Boyd arrives to resolve the fight, and tells him, "Look, we already have a shortage of food, and now, we rely on the animals for our food supply. They give us eggs and milk. If we kill them, we will have no way to survive. So, I want you to let the goat go. If not for yourself, at least think about others." Randall hesitates, then agrees, and hands the goat over to Ethan. Meanwhile, we see Jim and Kenny. They head into the forest before dusk, and want to reach the tent before nightfall. They notice some strange scarecrows inside the woods. However, they aren't scared of the scarecrows, and keep moving forward. Then, they come across a few small houses. Jim suggests that they should stay there for the night, but Kenny responds that this isn't the tent Boyd had told them about. Kenny thinks they should keep moving forward or they might have lost their way. Jim agrees. They go a little further. Inside the town, Elzin is trying to sleep, but he's also scared of falling asleep because he knows that if he does, the monsters might come. A woman named Tilly, an older lady, is with him and tells him that Boyd had said he needed rest, so he should sleep. But Elzin responds that if he sleeps, he'll be killed. At that moment, Tilly sees a monster approaching them slowly. Seeing this, Elzin is terrified, but the next moment, when he comes to his senses, he realizes that neither the old woman nor the monster are there anymore. Meanwhile, Victor is cleaning up at Kenny's house, where there has been some damage. Their Donna says that they were already short of food, and now, after the attack, the remaining supplies have been stolen. She asks how they are supposed to survive now. Boyd faces a dilemma, but he suggests that their only option is to slaughter their animals for food because it's the last option left. And in the meantime we will try to produce crops. However, Donna is furious and starts saying that everything has turned poisonous, including their food. Boyd steps in, saying they can't just sit idle and lose hope. Ethan, a young boy, overhears their conversation and realizes they might kill his goat, so he leaves. Boyd follows him and asks if he overheard what they were discussing, to which Ethan replies yes. Boyd explains that they don't have any other options. He says that if they kill these animals and eat them, the animals would be the true heroes for saving their lives. Ethan then responds by saying, "Are you going to start by eating my goat?" Boyd nods in agreement. Meanwhile, Tabitha reaches the address written on the box. Just then, a car pulls up and Henry steps out. At first, he thinks Tabitha is someone begging for money and tells her to leave. However, when he notices the box in her hand, he asks whose box it is. Tabitha realizes that Henry is Victor's father. At the same time, Jim and Kenny are hiding in the woods, sheltering in small cabins. As they sit and talk, they hear a noise outside. They suspect the monsters have arrived. Kenny cautiously peeks outside while Jim, scared, starts panicking, saying if he dies tonight, he will leave nothing behind for his family and kids. He laments that he never had a chance to achieve anything in life. Kenny tries to calm him down. Back in town, some monsters head to the farm, where they release the cows and buffaloes. Boyd is having a drink when Jade comes over and asks where he got it from. Boyd tells him that he found the drink with Father Katri. Boyd offers Jade a drink as well. Just then, Jade realizes that the cows and buffaloes have broken free, and it's already nightfall. Boyd tells Jade that they need to work together to return the animals to the farm. The two of them head outside and start guiding the animals back to the farm. Hearing their voices, Victor also comes to help. Victor tells Julie and Ethan to stay inside the house. Meanwhile, Randall, a man who was inside the bus, hears the noise of the cows and realizes that something is wrong. He notices that monsters have arrived, so he starts honking the bus horn to warn everyone. Ethan, a young boy, spots his goat and says he needs to save it. As soon as he opens the door, a monster appears, forcing Ethan and Julie to run and hide behind the house. Boyd and Jade are hurrying to drive the animals back to the farm, but then the monsters arrive and kill one of the cows. Jade was scared. Shera arrives and helps Ethan and Julie escape, leading them away from danger. Randall calls them and asks them to come to his bus. Meanwhile, Boyd is joined by Chen, who comes to help. Together, Boyd and Chen manage to guide some of the cows back to the farm. Boyd places a talisman stone in front of the door to block the monsters. But when he looks around, he realizes the monsters have already arrived. The monsters grab both Boyd and Chen. They taunt Boyd, saying, "You said you weren't afraid of us. Let's see if that's true now." They handcuff him, and Boyd tells them, "You can kill me, but let her go." The monsters respond, "If we wanted to kill you, we would have done it already." They start torturing Chen. Boyd encourages Chen, telling her not to panic and that she's strong. But despite his words, the monsters slowly kill her, and Boyd can do nothing to stop it. And with that, the episode comes to an end. We'll see you in episode 2.